Hello, students, teachers, counselors of the Berks County School Districts, speakers, volunteers, and organizers of the 2020 Young Leadership Conference. I am Sharon Peterson-Galdes, Coordinator of Diversity and International Programs at Penn State Berks. In my role, I provide support and advocacy for students of color, international students, students who are members of the LGBTQA+ community. In addition, I also oversee the maintenance and promotion of diversity and inclusion on our campus. On behalf of the Chancellor, the Director of Student Affairs, and the entire Penn State Berks campus, I welcome you to the 2020 Young Leadership Conference and to Penn State Berks campus. Normally, we would be in person together. However, because of the pandemic, we're not able to do that, so we're having the conference virtually. Soon, you will be able to see a video and have a virtual tour of our beautiful campus. Today, you're here to learn about leadership, which positions us to take hold of different opportunities and trains us to shoulder the responsibilities of influencing others to make a difference. The Pennsylvania State University is one university with 24 locations across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and global online. It is a leader in higher education. You can obtain a world-class education at any of these campuses or online. Start at one campus and finish at another, or you can do your complete 4 years at the same campus. Penn State has the largest alumni network in the world. When my daughters were your age, they toured one of the campuses and fell in love with the spirit of pride and camaraderie of the students of Penn State. The younger one is in her junior year at Penn State and loves it. Our Berks campus has faculty, staff, and administrators who care for the students and engage them in the classroom and outside to become future leaders in their chosen professions. Based on the 23 four-year degree programs that we offer, students can enter into any of those majors at Penn State Berks. The faculty conduct life-changing research in which students can participate. They teach and mentor students. The staff is friendly and helpful to all students and support them in their personal growth and leadership opportunities in over 50 clubs and organizations and as employees in various offices across campus. I do not know what your life plans and career aspirations are or the paths you will take to achieve them. There are choices you will make to get there. Each choice you make will take you closer or farther away from your goals. Whether you choose to attend college or take another path, the type of college, the campus you attend, and the major you decide on will matter. I encourage you to get to know yourself, your talents, strengths, and passions. These are clues to your purpose and your contribution to making the world a better place. They will help to guide you in the choices that you make. Focus not so much on being the greatest in the world, but on being the greatest for the world, and you will be a great leader. Make a choice for your future today. When you choose, keep Penn State and the Berks campus in mind. We would love to have you as a part of the Nittany Lion family. We are Penn State. Have a wonderful leadership conference.
Penn State Berks is improving the lives of others, starting here in our community.
Whether it's working with local hospitals to promote health and nutrition in our region, or providing students with access to programs like engineering and an accelerated business degree. On campus and in the city of Reading, ideas become reality with help from our entrepreneurship facilities and resources.
As dedicated partners in our region's success, we're contributing more than $97 million annually to the Pennsylvania economy.
Our researchers are on the front lines of Pennsylvania's fight against spotted lanternflies, developing new ways to control and prevent these invasive insects.
And our impact keeps growing. Students, faculty, staff, and community members, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
Hey guys, Justin here. First, I wanted to say I'm really excited and honored to be able to spend the next couple of minutes with you. Obviously, this is not how we pictured it, right? I certainly didn't think I'd be standing in my office talking to a webcam, and you guys didn't think you would be where you are, whether that's learning at school virtually or socially distancing in the classrooms. We didn't picture this, but we have this opportunity now to spend some time together, and hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Just to tell you a little bit and give you some context to who I am am actually an entrepreneur, podcaster, speaker, and I get to enjoy my life a lot. It's really neat, actually. My podcast has blown up and now gets played in over 100 countries every single week. I've been mentioned by Inc. magazine as a top 8 podcast every entrepreneur should follow. I've been on a number of other lists, and I get the opportunity to speak all over this great country on podcasting and overcoming adversity and everything else that I've learned along the way. Now, it wasn't always like that. You know, I always jokingly say that when I was your age, if there was a senior superlative for least likely to succeed, that would have been me. I found myself with a 1.7 GPA in high school, mom who's in the middle of a 20-year opioid addiction, and a dad who was in jail. And really, if you look at that, all signs pointed to you've got no shot, kid. They actually say, the statistics say that if your parent's an addict, you have a 50% chance of becoming an addict. And if your parent's in jail, you have a 50% chance of being in jail. I'm 100% screwed if you do the math, right? Yeah. And so when I look at what I've built, I feel honored. But I've also, over time, become obsessed with the carpenter bee. And if you guys know what the carpenter bees are, they're the fat bumblebees. The reason I've become obsessed with them is because if you don't know this, scientifically, they're ergonomically designed not to fly, which means their wingspan versus their body mass says they cannot fly. But they fly anyway, because it doesn't matter what the statistics say. It doesn't matter what people say. They're bees, and they just do what they have to do. So that is kind of what I've adopted in my life. There's a lot of people who said you can't do something because of where you come from, or you can't do something because of what you've been through, or what you look like, or how smart or not smart you are. And honestly, I always tell them, watch me. You have to watch me do the things that I do, because we all have limiting beliefs. And if you guys don't know what limiting beliefs are, those are the things that are like, I'm too fat, I'm too slow, I'm too tall, I'm too thin, I'm too dumb, I'm too ugly, whatever these limiting beliefs are. And they come from 3 different places. And these are the 3 places you need to be aware of these limiting beliefs. Number one, they come from the outside world. So your classmates, your parents, your neighbors, whatever, people might say them to you. They come from society. Society might say, you've got no shot because of where you grew up. You've got no shot because your parents were poor. Society says, or you've got no shot because your parent was an addict or in jail. And then the third place that limiting beliefs come from is ourselves. And it's the story that we tell ourselves. And that's one of the hardest things to overcome. What I want to talk about today is how do we overcome them so we can become successful, so we can live the life that we want to live, and that we're going to get there. But first, we have to understand, what life do we want to live? I'm not saying, what do you want to be? I'm not saying, write down on a piece of paper, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. You don't need to decide that right now. But what I'm saying is, let's dream big together. And one of the things that I do every single day in my life is a visualization practice. And what this does is it gets me clear on the feelings of who I want to be. It puts me there in my mind, and it gets me excited. And so I want to share a story with you first And then I'm going to walk you guys through this practice that I do. But just to tell you a little bit of the story. Now, you guys might not remember this show. You might know the newer version of it, but the show Full House, you guys might know Fuller House, or you've watched reruns of Full House. Well, I'm old enough that when I was growing up, I watched Full House when it was airing. And there was a specific episode on Full House where it was Stephanie's birthday. And this pop singer named Tommy Page came and sang happy birthday to her. And in this episode, Tommy hung out with Uncle Jesse, and they were friends, and they were just, messing around together and recording in the studio in the house and doing all these things. And I remember being 8 years old and saying to myself, that would be so cool to be able to be friends with pop stars and do all this fun stuff. And I just remember it so much. Like, it was really stuck in my head. And then that episode came up again when I was 10, 12, 14, 16. And I would always go, that would be so cool. Well, fast forward to when I was 24 years old. I find myself at a house party, and I look up and I went, holy crap, I'm in Tommy Page's house. And I went on to become friends with Tommy Page. And the important part of this story that I'm sharing with you guys is that when you focus on something enough, whether it's subconsciously, those limiting beliefs you're telling yourself, or consciously, what I'm about to walk you through, it can very much become your reality. It's not always as specific as I thought it would be cool to hang out with a pop star named Tommy Page, and I hung out with him. But we can get really clear on who we want to be or the things that we want in our life by visualizing them. And so what I want you guys to do, and this is a trust exercise, I'm trusting that you're going to do this with me. Wherever you're watching, whether it's in the classroom, teachers, please make your students close their eyes. If you're watching at home, hey, hopefully you guys just close your eyes and walk through this with me. So I'm going to give you guys a second to close your eyes. I'm going to walk you through a visualization process that I do for myself every single day so I can get clear on my dreams and where I want to be in life. And so what I want you guys to picture is who you want to be when you're older. I want you to picture everything about it. The way you look, the way it feels to be that person. What house are you living in? What town or city are you living in? Are you married? What's that man or woman look like to you? Do you have kids? What type of job do you have? What kind of income are you making? And I want you to picture all of that in a happy, happy way. I want you guys to picture yourself in your mind as that person. Once you get that picture, I want you to think about what your house would smell like. Maybe it's around the holidays, it smells like a Christmas tree. Maybe it's around fall time, it smells like pumpkin spice everything. But what's it smell like? What's it feel like? You have a nice warm heat running through your house. If you're living in a warm place because you chose Florida or California, Southern California, is the air conditioning running? What's it feel like? What's the atmosphere like? What's your loved one saying to you? What's it feel like to be hugged by them? What's it feel like to be hugged by your children? And if you're living alone, what's it like to have that freedom and that silence in your house? I want you guys to fully picture it and get yourself there and think about the things you need to do to have that in your life. But what's it feel like? Feel it. I want you to truly feel that person inside of you, of whoever you want to become. I want you to open your eyes. So that feeling that you felt of who you want to be, not what you want to be, not the things like a doctor or a lawyer or a scientist or an entrepreneur, not the what, but the who. Who is that person? Hold on to that feeling in your life and start to visualize it daily. Truly visualize it. I get really, really real in my visualizations. And now I talked a little bit about, I host a live event. I host a live event right here in Reading, Pennsylvania called Growth Now Movement Live, pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID. And when I was planning the first year, I had a visualization of exactly what I wanted it to be like. The music, the speakers, the audience, the lights, the sounds, all the things. And I pictured it every single day. Now, here's why we visualize. Yes, I had to do the work. I had to get the speakers. I had to set up the venue. I had to fly the speakers in. I had to do all these things. But the day of, a friend walked up to me and said, dude, are you nervous? Like, this is it. You have a sold out event. Are you excited? Are you nervous? What is it? And I go, I'm not nervous at all. I go, I've already done this 40,000 times. With my visualization practice, it made me ready for what life was giving to me at that very moment. And so when you're ready for it, good, bad, or indifferent, it makes life a heck of a lot easier. And that's something that I do every single day to ensure success walk myself through that visualization process, whether it's visualizing this talk that I'm giving you guys or visualizing something much bigger, like something I want 10, 20, 30 years from now. I do it regularly to ensure myself the processes that I need. Now you're probably like, Justin, I'm sitting here and I'm doing this visualization, but I don't get it. If I'm thinking it, does it just happen? Now there is a woo-woo thought process to that, whereas if you think something, automatically it happens. But the reality is when you ingrain it into your brain, your actions will automatically take you there. For instance, if you pictured yourself as a doctor in a beautiful home with a beautiful family, it takes work to get there. You still have to go to college and get your master's and get your doctorate and do all these things. That's the work that needs to be done. But when you know the feeling of it, it makes the work a lot more enjoyable, right? It makes the work a lot more enjoyable. And so you truly have to grab onto that visualization and understand this is where I'm going in life and this is who I want to be. Number two, when things get super tough in your life, and they will, unfortunately, that is the law of life, right? Like there's going to be moments that are tough, like when my mom passed away or the multiple failed businesses that I've had in the past, which I didn't even get into during this. But those things are the tough times. You have to be able to lift yourself out of those moments. So what does that mean, right? The important part is when you're in those moments that you surround yourself with the right people. Now, I want you guys to think about who it is you spend your time with in school. Who are your friends inside school, outside of school? Are these people who support you in who you want to be? Do they lift you up? Do they make you better? Do they challenge you? You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are going to do that for you. Now, I have great friends and mentors in my life that push me to be better, right? For instance, Fabio Viviani there's a show called America's Top Chef, if any of you watch it. But Fabio was on that. And he's somebody that I hold dear to my heart, who pushes me, who tells me to go to a different direction, who challenges my thoughts, who makes me better. We always have those options to surround ourselves with better people. And I'm challenging you now to not get rid of your friends, but do a breakdown of where am I spending my time? Am I headed in the right direction? One thing I really wish that I did in high school was surround myself with people who studied. Because if I did that, I probably would have studied and I probably would have had it better than that 1.7 GPA. So obviously, look, we've talked about visualization, which is a quick practice that you guys can start now, even at your age. We talked about surrounding yourself with the right people and not necessarily getting rid of your friends or, whatever, but making sure that these individuals are adding to your life. Number three, we have to get rid of everything that isn't adding value to our futures. We have to think now about our futures. The world is becoming more and more of a place that you have to create it for yourself, which is exciting because I've met some of you in the past and I know for a fact that this world is going to be amazing because of what you bring into it. But it starts now, and it starts now by removing the negative things that are happening, whether that's negative self-talk. Stop telling yourself that you're not old enough yet. Stop telling yourself that you're too slow or too fat or too thin. Stop doing that. Fix the negative self-talk. Fix all of these things that are negative in your life by removing them and say, I'm taking control of my life now at my age so I can impact the world at a greater clip in the future. I'm really excited to see what you guys do, what you guys create, and what you guys really manifest in your life by these visualization practices. As a matter of fact, I'd love to hear from you what it is you want to be when you grow up. What does it look like? Email me, justin@growthnowmovement.com, what you guys want to be. If you are at your house right now, click away really quick and just email me, justin@growthnowmovement.com. I'd love to hear all about your story and who it is you want to become. Because here's the thing. I don't care where you are in life right now. I don't care if you're the 1.7 GPA kid. I don't care if you're the 4.0 kid. I don't care if you're the star athlete. I don't care if you've never played a sport in your life. I don't care about any of that stuff. What I care about is you guys taking a moment in your life right now, right this second, and making a commitment to think bigger, to dream big, to not allow anybody on this planet to tell you that you can't. Because society told me I couldn't. Society told me that I couldn't go create the life that I have now. Everything pointed to, you've got no shot, give up, settle, do all of these things. But the reality is, when people told me that I couldn't, I simply said, watch me. And I went about my day and got better every single day. And I focused on growing. I focused on growing my life to what it is now. And I'm not telling you to go change the world today, but I'm telling you to take one little step. Because if every single person who watches this right now takes one little step today to making their life or this world a better place, then this world's better off because of it. And I hope that you guys have taken one or two things out of this talk that you can implement into your life. I hope that you guys feel inspired to take action in your own life to make it better. And then hopefully in the long run, make the world a better place, because even at the age of 15, 16, or 17 years old, however old you guys are, you have the power right now to make a difference. And I hope that you take the opportunity. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hopefully I get some emails from you guys. You can also follow me on Instagram at Justin T. Shank. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever, shoot them in the emails and I will get back to every single one of you. Thank you guys so much.
Hello, I am Adele Shade. I'm the Dean of Pre-College and Summer Programs and Director of the Science Research Institute at Albright College. I'm excited to talk to you today and tell you about all of the programming we have going on at Albright College as SRI recently expanded to the college campus. The Science Research Institute is a nonprofit that I developed about 6 years ago at Conrad Weiser High School, and we've had a lot of success with that. My background is in biomedical research and microbiology, and what we do is use science to allow students to innovate. We look for identifying your passion and interest areas, and when we find that, we find you the resources to explore that. The first new program, brand new, coming out that affects 10th and 11th graders in Berks County will be a dual enrollment program starting this spring with some limited enrollment, but our first official class will be for next school year in fall of 21. And this is College in the Morning program. You will be able to come to Albright College for courses in the morning and then go back to your school for the afternoon. Very similar to a VOTEC schedule, but you'll be coming to Albright College on the campus with our instructors, with our students to take classes. And so with this program, you can see here on this slide, we have reduced tuition for high school students that will be in the SRI dual enrollment program to $625 a semester. If you are in this program, both your junior and senior year of high school, you'll complete one full semester at Albright College for about $2,500. There are grants available, there are scholarships available. So I kind of urge you to contact us and reach out about those things. But what's really incredible about this program is that you'll be able to come to Albright's campus. You will be able to be in the classes with all of the college students. And then around those classes that you take, those 100 level classes that you take, you're going to be able to do an SRI research course, which is focused on innovation and entrepreneurship. So you're going to be able to take some ideas that you have and work with professionals on those ideas. So on this slide, I have some samples of some of the 100 and 200 level courses you can take. Again, this will wrap around an SRI research course, but there's things in sports management, music production, communications, science, really any of your interest areas. So if you go to albright.edu and search for dual enrollment, you will find the new SRI dual enrollment program. I urge you to apply. If you have any questions, my email will be up here at the end of the presentation. You can contact me about that. But this is a really, really exciting thing that we're starting next year just for you. Some other things happening in the Science Research Institute are some virtual internship and mentorship opportunities. You could ask your teachers about this program. It's available through the BCIU, but we have over 100 speakers right now in a variety of careers ready to speak with you virtually about what they do and what's involved in their field. So that can help you with some career decisions. Additionally, at Albright, we have a new tutor program. So if any of you want some help with your classes, if you're feeling, you could use some extra help because things have gone remote and you're online, or you're taking some really challenging classes and could use some help in subject-specific areas, this program is for you. We have college students who can tutor you and help you work your way through those classes through this semester. For the Science Research Institute, we also run summer programming. So we have a 5-week program coming up this summer at Albright College. This will be open to all 5th through 12th grade students in the county. And we, through those 5 weeks, have students in from all over Berks County. They get to, again, explore areas of their interest. We match them with mentors in their expertise areas and have them do research projects. And again, this is all about innovating, getting you in touch with people who have expertise in your interest area, and then the entrepreneurship that can come with that. So you can look for that for this summer at Albright College. It involves all disciplines, not just science. So we, again, last year had fashion and design, we had art and mural painting, we had music production. So you can contact us about that program that's coming up this summer, will be at Albright College. And then if you get into an innovative idea, as you go through these programs, we also offer memberships through the school year, so that you can continue to work with us and some of our college students as mentors as you develop these project and product ideas. In the end, what we'd like to help you do is discover what you're passionate about, what your interests are, find you people that have the same interests, and then support you as you grow in those areas. So again, here's the contact information for the Science Research Institute at Albright College. My email and the website at the bottom left of your screen, and all of our social media. We hope to see you in dual enrollment for next year in the summer programs, and please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.
Welcome to Inside BCIU. This is our opportunity to showcase the great work that our staff members do on a daily basis. In this episode, we're going to feature our Career Ready Berks initiative, a high priority item for us here at BCIU to support the 70,000 students across Berks County.
Stacy, what is Career Ready Berks?
Career Ready Berks is a coalition of our 18 school districts, our CTC centers in Berks County, along with business and industry, who have come together to create a framework for students to engage in career readiness activities throughout the county.
What are the career pathways?
The pathways are different sectors of career opportunities that we are introducing our students to allow them to get an experience out in the workforce. We want students to discover what's available for them and to be able to engage in those opportunities to see where their interest and their passion lies.
Dan, what is this initiative intended to do?
There's a few different things. It's really about collaboration across all of our stakeholders in the community. When we really look at the aspect of career development, equaling workforce development, equaling economic development for our community, it involves the collaboration of our business, our industry, our educators, higher ed, and really all of our parents and stakeholders of the community. Bringing those pieces together to really offer experiences to our students so that they know what opportunities are available for them, as well as giving opportunities to our business and industry to get into our schools and really assist us in meeting the needs of students and meeting the needs of their business and industry for the future.
How do students benefit?
Students benefit from the opportunities that we're providing for them to go out into the workforce and to discover what careers are out there for them. There are so many opportunities here in Berks County, and oftentimes our students don't know about what's available. So our students are getting to see what's out there in the workforce, what training they need to get those jobs, and then we're providing them with the opportunities to get those training.
Dan, tell us about the career pathways at different grade levels.
So it's really a process of going from K through 12, which we've developed here in the county, and it's about elementary becoming aware, about middle school exploring those opportunities, and about high school really implementing career plans, and really just taking that K through 12 perspective of shaping what that future might look like in terms of careers for our students.
For joining us for this part of the Leadership Conference for 2020, which, while we're very disappointed that we couldn't be in person with you, we're thrilled to be able to offer this virtual presentation. Through this program and this part of the session, we're going to talk with young professionals in our community who have cashed in on their passion. And when we talk about that, what we're really saying is, how have these professional individuals leverage both their talents and their skill sets into something that they really can go in and enjoy every single day and be passionate about. And I think that as we talk to each of these really strong, awesome individuals, you're going to understand, wow, they really enjoy what they do every day. And they've been able to go and take some of these skills and do really great things while really enjoying all of the different aspects of what they get to do within their career. So I think you're going to learn a lot. And without further ado, I'm going to allow each of our panelists today to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Ashley, and then we'll work our way around, and you can get to know everyone on this part of the program.
Hi, my name is Ashley Mikulski. I am the Vice President of Development at the Animal Rescue League of Berks County, which is an animal shelter here in our community. If I were to say one word that really, encapsulated who I am as a person, I live my life with empathy. So when you work in nonprofits and you care a lot about missions and people and the people that you influence, it's always important to have empathy and understand what they're going through, regardless of whether or not you've ever done that before too. So it's how I live my life. It's why I've chosen nonprofits, and that's me.
Everyone, my name is Kevin Lugo. I'm the Sustainability and Solid Waste Manager for the City of Reading. So I oversee all things energy efficiency, waste-related recycling, that kind of stuff. And a phrase I like to use a lot is that you really shouldn't ask why, but ask why not. So, when presented with a reason to not do something, you really have to ask yourself, how would it hurt me by not doing this? So I'm a big fan of taking opportunities as they come.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ariel Helene. I am a chiropractor at Keystone Specific Chiropractic Center. Something that I heard in undergrad that it's really stuck with me is the saying, live with purpose. So always having a reason for what you're doing and making sure that it always brings you joy. So that's something I've tried to live by.
My name is Diana Blendon, and I am currently the human resource manager for a startup company here in the Reading area. It's called Carbon Light. And then the one phrase that I'd like to, and it always comes to me, that kind of sticks with me, it just keeps me moving forward. And I'd like to say, wherever you go, there you are. And it's two different meanings to that. Sometimes we feel like we're escaping something or someone, and we go somewhere and we're the same person, or we're dealing with the same thing over and over and over again. And it really puts me back in perspective of, at the end of the day, I have to analyze myself and why I'm attracting what I'm attracting. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Wherever you go, there you are. So you either like what you see, or you make the change for the better, for what you want to see in yourself. And everywhere you go, there you're going to be for whoever, whatever you want to do.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bala Peterson. I'm a senior staff engineer at Warner Media. And so basically, we helped launch HBO Max in May. And so right now we're working to take it global. And a phrase that I like to use often is this too shall pass. And so when things are awesome, I try to be present and enjoy it because I know that it won't last forever. But then when things are not awesome, I know that better days are coming. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here, everyone. And I think that Bala will focus on your quote or your saying that you're using, and that for those of you sitting in maybe a virtual seat watching this, know that this too shall pass. Although I think the virtual perspective that we're all getting and using new technology is just another thing that you guys can add to your skill set and your tool belt as you move forward. So know that while this has been very challenging for all of us, trust me, not just you guys in school, but certainly us as professionals as well in the working world. It's a lot of change, but I think as you see change, you also see opportunities. So make sure you're taking this time to learn a new skill or take advantage of the technology that we have in front of us. So thank you, Bala, for that message, and all of you for your introductions. We're going to dig into our first question. And that is, how has your personal background helped you to evolve you to where you are today? What motivates you and drives you and in your daily career and in your community work? So not only do many of these panelists have a full-time job, maybe a part-time job, they also all volunteer in some capacity. So learning about what drives them, and let's also hear from each of you a little bit about your personal background that got you to maybe where you are right now.
Actually, how I got into my career is that my whole life I actually went to a chiropractor. So from the age of about 6 months old, I always saw a chiropractor. I loved it. I loved going to his office. There was always like a kids corner with toys, and it was always very family oriented. I always felt great growing up. I was lucky to not have any allergies, asthma, anything along ear infections. I never had anything like that. And that really influenced my health and how I wanted to help other people and really get to the root cause of problems. So it was kind of a no-brainer to become a chiropractor because I just had such an amazing experience growing up with one. So it really influenced my choice later on.
So I'm from Berks County. I grew up here. I went to Wilson High School, so shout out to Wilson. But for me, I grew up with a single mother. I was an only child, so we were pretty close. And maybe I think about 4th or 5th grade, we moved to the first house that she had purchased. And shortly afterwards, my grandfather was sick. And then, long story short, eventually he passed away. But we went through a lot of struggles kind of financially, personally during that time. And it really taught me that it's, you never know what's going to happen in life. And you just kind of keep going, kind of keep moving forward. And so it's really motivated me in my work to work on things that better the community, and also to live by a philosophy of paying it forward. I think of all the times that people who didn't really owe us anything or didn't even know us helped us. And so in my life, I try and pay it forward. And, working for the city, I'm always trying to work on improving the city, improving the community. And that's the kind of thing that motivates me, because I really think that everyone needs a leg up sometimes. And so it's always really in our best interest as humans to help each other.
I can really identify with that in the paying it forward aspect. And I think that's, I've been in love with animals my whole life, as most young girls are. Everyone falls in love with a horse when you're young and you're a girl. But I really fell in love with making a difference and, recognizing that animals, couldn't speak for themselves and doing a lot of work to help them improve their quality of life. But it kind of stemmed from that into really falling in love with helping people. And I love building relationships and helping the community solve a need, especially through philanthropy, which is what I do in fundraising. So the ability to pay it forward and use my particular skill set to help others has really kind of driven my entire pathway in life. And I always thought that I knew what I wanted. And I think that's what my success has really led to, is because I had a goal in mind my whole life. But it's funny how it's changed over time. But that helping people and helping things has always been at the core value of why I do everything that I do.
Oh, that's awesome. So for me, mine is a little different. So every 4 years growing up, we moved to somewhere else because of my dad's job. And so growing up, there was a lot of change, and you would be a little hesitant with friendships because it would probably end soon. And so when I finally became an adult, I wanted to just set some roots. I wanted to stay somewhere for a while. And so while I still love change, I love the fact that I have 2 sons now, and we live in Reading, and this is home, and this is where we want to be forever if possible. And so part of my goal is to make it a place where, my boys can grow up and have just incredible opportunities. And so just starting with a nuclear family, I realized that, a lot of it involves, our neighbors and our community, and it grows like that. So that's kind of like my dynamic is how can I make where I live awesome for my family? And so that's part of my background.
How did your early career choices lead you to your current role? And was it always a straight path for you? So I know you guys were all chomping at the bit on this one. So whoever wants to tackle first.
So I had no idea what I wanted to do in my life. And I was lucky. My father, he would say sometimes it's easier to know what you don't want versus what you want in life. And he would always say, like, you're smart, you can do anything you want to do. And he said, I always see you on the computer. Why don't you study computer science? I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't like that. And he said that, you have to look at where the highest demand is. And so like that bit of advice just has stuck with me, like, where is the highest demand? And so, yes, I ended up getting my undergrad in computer science, but what I really wanted to do was theater. And so, I do it on the side for fun, but I think the core thing, that my father helped me figure out is just like, I'm really good with people. I'm really good with communicating and connecting people. So my master's degree was in project management. And so just as my career has grown, it's just, I feel like I'm discovering more of what I want and more of what I'm built to do. And so I feel like I've had like 5 or 6 different careers, but it's always evolving to reveal more of who I am as a person. Does that make sense?
I wanted to add to that a little bit, like building upon what you already have passion for. I mean, for me, it's, I originally went to undergrad with a degree in biology because I knew I wanted to be in the health field. I knew I wanted to help people. And even at the time, having grown up with chiropractic, like I wasn't really sure that's what I wanted to do. So, but I always knew my drive was to help people at the end of the day and just make a difference and be a part of their health journey. So even though it takes a little bit of time to get there, it isn't always a straight path. But I think for me, it was just like listening to what really brought me joy and really I felt could make a difference. So just kind of listening to that inner voice that said, you should do this, and then actually following through with it and not just ignoring it. So.
It was really important in my field. I always knew what I wanted. I wanted to work with animals in zoos or aquariums. Specifically, I wanted to dive off the back of an orca whale, which everybody, I think, one small minutia thinks they want to do that. So every decision I made throughout high school and college was to gain experience to get to that point, because it's an incredibly in-demand industry. I took 5 unpaid internships, which was a lot of time and a lot of lost dollars from not having a part-time job growing up. And I finally got to the point where I was offered my dream job, and I looked around and I thought, well, shoot, now what? Because one thing I really want to stress is the job you think you want might not be sustainable long-term, especially in the industry that I went into. I was offered a job at $10 an hour, which is not really sustainable for life if you want to have, a certain lifestyle. So the job that ended up being my dream job, I didn't even know existed until I was given a chance to have an internship and doing some grant writing. Think, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was around. So I really encourage anybody to think, if you think you know what you want to do, really broaden that scope within the industry that you want to be in. Because in my experience, animal welfare only meant caring for animals. I had no idea that there was an entire industry that fundraised for those initiatives. So again, it was kind of a wiggly path. I got to where I wanted, but then I realized there was so much more that I wanted to do. And it's always important to broaden your horizons outside of what you think you know, because the world is so big.
I love this question because my path has been anything but straight. I can echo the idea that I went to college and I didn't quite know what I wanted to study. But unlike everybody else, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at all. I had no plans. And I remember my freshman year, I took an economics course because I was kind of an environmentalist. And I was like, I'm going to hate this course, but it fills a lot of requirements. And I ended up loving it and ended up majoring in economics and environmental studies. And my first job after college was a food bank. I was a valet for a while. I did deliveries for a blood center out in Seattle where I lived. I worked for a political campaign. I mean, I've been all over the place. Um, and the thing that ties them all together was I was always looking for new experiences, learning new things, gaining new perspectives. And I think that's one of the things that's been valuable for me in my position here at the city is that I can speak to what it's like living here or living in Seattle or working for a food bank or working on sustainable transportation. So I think that oftentimes if you don't know, like I want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, you can have a very winding path, but it just gives you more context once you figure out what you want to do to really excel in that career field.
I think that there's two portions to me. I think that it has been a straight line, but at the same time, it hasn't. And I say that because in my head, it was. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew that I wanted to work with people. So that was the first sort of path that I had in my head. I always wanted to work with people. I didn't know in what way or what aspect. So early on in my education, I actually studied for early childhood education. I thought that that was going to be my path. And then I took a course in cultural anthropology, and it completely turned my idea of what I wanted to do. I was like, I dropped early childhood education and I went into actually cultural anthropology. That's what my degree is on. And I wanted to work with people. So I said, if I learned and I understand how people work, I concentrated in culture, right? And I said, if I understand people, if I understand how people work, how people think, how people talk, I am always going to work with people. So I got my cultural anthropology degree. I was super excited. And then I graduated and I was like, now what? What do I do with this? And not only myself, but everybody else, right? I would go in interviews and they would be like, what are you trying to do? What, your degrees in cultural anthropology, what do you want? And then I happened to move to Pennsylvania at that time. And prior to living in Pennsylvania, I grew up in New York City. I had no idea what manufacturing was. No idea. I didn't know what manufacturing was until I got to Pennsylvania. And when I got my first taste of manufacturing environment, I put all those pieces together. I said, this is where my life is. Manufacturing has a diverse wealth of employees, from management to general workers to specific areas of expertise. And I fell in love with that. It was like me being in New York City with all the cultures, right? So I was like, manufacturing is where I need to be, and in human resources where I need to go. So my path has always been there in me and my heart. I just needed to put those pieces together slowly as my life went on. And it was difficult because when I went into manufacturing, I've always had office jobs. I've always worked in colleges, and they were like, why do you want to go in manufacturing? You're not going to survive. you're not going to make it in there. It's unique. It's frustrating. It's hard. And I was relentless. I started, from a clerical position, and then for a training position, and eventually I ended up where I was meant to be from the very beginning in my head. So it's those trial and errors and those exposures that you have. But I am a believer that you have it in your heart, and you just got to put all those little pieces together. And eventually, if you're relentless like I am, you end up where you really want to be in.
Super great points on all fronts from everyone. Diana, I'm going to kind of echo what you were saying in that I think it's time, and it's okay to take that time to be able to piece things together. I think often we feel pressure to have a plan from a very early start, and we sometimes even do put that plan together and then realize along the way that it's not exactly either going to go that way or it wasn't meant to go that way. And that's okay too. So I guess that kind of takes us into our next question, in that a lot of times there is that pressure to kind of have things figured out. And whether that be by the time you graduate high school, by the time you graduate college, we always kind of have this timeline in our minds of kind of this path, right? And so to kind of better navigate that, were there things or changes that you made along the way, or things that you even just allowed yourself to be okay with as those changes to the plan maybe came up? What would you tell your high school or your college age self about, it's okay to change or shift or navigate this? What kind of advice would you give on that front?
Yeah, there's this almost fabricated tension to figure everything out, and I think none of us except Ashley figured everything, knew what they wanted to do. And maybe, yeah, the thing that I would just share is just like, we're not running out of time. I think I remember when I was in high school, I had so much energy, and part of the challenge was just figuring out how to channel it. And so just to give concrete advice, what I would suggest is, if you know exactly how much you need to make to survive, like that's all you need to know. Like if you can get a job to make, just to pay the bills, that's perfect. And that frees you up to explore other passions. So I'm saying two things, like, don't freak out. I promise you there are like many changes coming. Just make sure you have a plan to cover the basic bills. That's all that really matters.
It's a good message. And I think, kind of like I said earlier, like depending on the industry you pick, what that means for your salary, can change. And it all depends on what kind of life that you want for yourself. And I think it's important to realize, while yes, it's important to be passionate about what you do, what kind of life do you want? And, do you want flexibility to travel the world and, not have to worry about your job? Or do you want to go all in and have a phenomenal career in that? I think it's important to know where you want to get to and then build a pathway to get there.
Yeah, with both of those, I think, experimentation is best when you're young, because you don't have, necessarily the same responsibilities as you might have in 5 or 10 years. So it's the time to experiment, and like Bala said, I quit a perfectly good job because I didn't like it, and I was working part-time for a little bit, but I was able to cover my bills and, try some new things out. And that actually was a really great experience for me. I think that for me, what was really helpful is just trying to live by my values. If I'm at a job and I'm making good money, but I'm frustrated that I work too much or I don't see my friends and family, like that's not my value. So that's not right for me.
That's a great point. I kind of wrote down that, all jobs are important. Like every job that you've ever had or held, it taught you something. I know I waitressed for 6 years, and was that my ideal position? No, but I learned how to work with people and people skills, and I learned time management and a lot of other great things that I use now later on. So every point in your progression is important, and it's important to take those lessons and understand them. But even going off what Kevin said, like it's also important to have joy in what you do. you have to have this passion. And yeah, paying the bills is extremely important, but if you can pay the bills and have joy, like that's pretty much having it all. So pretty important.
And I think for me, obviously, my path wasn't, so my personal path wasn't as straight as my career path, right? I did have a family very early on while I was in college. And I think for at least my end, I would say that sometimes the circumstances and the things that happen in your life aren't exactly what you would have thought they would have been, or exactly the path that you would have wanted to be or not. You don't know that. But what I mean by is being relentless and not listening to the negativity or the fear inside yourself even. So I was in college with a child already. I actually got my 4-year degree with 2 children. So I went to my last year in college, and in spring break, when everybody was in Florida, I was having a baby and I came back to finish off my college degree. So, you know, what I say is don't give up. Don't allow yourself your fear. Don't allow your, you know, what people might say about your choices or whatever happened in your life. Don't let that interrupt your goal as a person to grow, to have a career, to have a success.
I think everyone kind of touched on it a little bit, but how important it is to take risk. Every job that I've applied for and got, I was just not totally qualified. And it's so important, I think, to dream big. I mean, I took a director level job when I was 21 and I didn't even know what development was. So it's really important to be a little scared in what you're doing, because your career can skyrocket if you just take chances. You know, I left an industry that I loved to go work for a big city for a nonprofit that, you know, taught financial literacy to children. And I didn't even like children, but it was a wonderful opportunity for me to grow as a professional. And I found my way back to the industry that I love. But had I not done that, had I not been willing to leave my comfort zone and go to an industry I didn't know, in a city I didn't know, in a job that was a very big job, I wouldn't be here today. So risk isn't a bad thing. And it's okay to fail, because you learn something, whether or not you liked something or not along the way. So take as much risk as you can.
That's such a good point. And I think that that's one of the biggest things with resilience, right? You're scared to death of what's ahead of you, but the risk and the reward, and to your point, you know, I have learned, and I actually take great pride on, you know, what you said with failure. If I failed, I've done something good. And that's how I look at it. If I'm failing, it's because I tried, and I get up and I try again. And, you know, it just leads me to that path of success. I think without failure, success is not quite there.
Fear can be a real challenge and a roadblock as well. And I think at times we tell ourselves a story before it's been told or before it's been written. And so it's really easy to get into a pattern of not doing something because of that fear. And so I think it's really important to have early wins in your career, and maybe even before your career. Maybe it was a mentor that you met in high school, or it was an experience that you had outside of the working world, but something that really, you know, shook you to your core, but that helped you gain the confidence to keep making those hard choices. Because I know sometimes it's that one time where you gained a little bit of confidence, or a little, you know, had a moment where somebody just told you did a great job, or hey, you're really good at working with people or working with animals, that really boosted your, you know what, maybe I am really good at this and maybe I should explore something in this. So I think it takes those little tiny moments of confidence building, or just somebody believing in you, to help you make or remove those barriers from making some of those hard choices. So if you guys could share what one of your early wins was, that gave you sort of that confidence boost, or even maybe it was a win, maybe it was a fail, maybe it was a moment, or just something someone said. It can be as simple as that sometimes. If you could share your own experiences with that, that would be great.
I'll jump on that one because you really hit the nail on the head with sometimes it's not even your career, it's before your career. Taking risks was really important for me, and it sounds like Bella grew up moving a lot and had this desire to put roots down. I had the opposite desire. I was always in Berks. I really wanted to experience what else was out there, and so when I was in high school, Wilson offered a trip to Spain as part of my Spanish class. So I was always in the sports and everything, but I quit playing sports because we didn't really have the money to pay for it. So I could get a job and go to Spain for 2 weeks. Excuse me. And that was a life-changing experience. I had never traveled like that before. And I got really excited about traveling. And then when I went to college, I chose a college that made it easy to travel. And so I spent a semester studying abroad in Denmark, which absolutely was life-changing. It was such a great experience. And those experiences kind of taught me that it really is about the experience. That was my win, is knowing what else was out there and not being afraid to try new things. After college, I biked cross country. I moved to Seattle, where I knew a couple people who were going to grad school but had no connections, and was able to find a job and get started there. So I think for me, the early win was taking those risks and learning at an early age that I could survive those and I could thrive, even though sometimes I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next.
That's awesome, Kevin. I think, early wins, I can't attribute it to anything I did. So I'm this black man who comes to America, and I've been lucky to have the best mentors. People who have shown interest in me, who have corrected me, who have corrected me in love, who have challenged me, who have invited me and offered me a seat at the table. And just having good mentors here in this country has been, I feel terribly lucky that I've been able to do that. And I think so. I've mentioned my father already, but I think that one of the things that he instilled in me is just my relationship with authority, like being able to submit and being able to take criticism. I think that has helped. That's given me a posture to be open, to be curious, to take risks, as others said. But I think the one thing that has completely changed the trajectory of my life is just having good mentors who loved me and cared for me enough to correct me in the right way. And I realized, like, not a lot of people have that privilege almost of having people who look over you professionally and personally and all that. And so I forgot who mentioned paying it forward. That's one of the things I want to try to do now, is find people who have potential and find a way to speak to their heart and offer guidance, because I still have that today and I feel really, really lucky. And that's absolutely what has changed my life and my career.
Vala, if you could just touch on, for the students that are watching this, wishing they had a mentor or someone that they could reach out to, how, if they don't naturally have one or have organically met one, what might you recommend for them to find a mentor?
Yeah, so I can speak as a black man. It's really tough right now because there is tension in this country. So there is someone who can help you do the work, like whatever work you need to do. And so there's so much tension in this country right now in the way we live, that half of the pool of mentors will not engage because of just anxiety and getting it wrong. So I've been lucky to seek them out. I come with a posture that says, hey, tell me the truth. You won't hurt my feelings, or don't worry. So it's almost disarming you know, and but that's a key part. And so so if you're in 10th or 11th grade, like what does that look like? And it's really tough. It's a really tough thing. And so one of the things that I normally advise is, if there's someone that you're like, ooh, I think they're winning at life, or they're winning at this thing, that's the perfect candidate. And I promise you, if they're winning at life or whatever it is, and you go up to them and just, how do you do this? How do you do this? I promise you, they want to help and they will offer mentorship. And so unfortunately, sometimes you have to power up as a 10th grader or as an 11th grader to go seek out the mentors. But yes, look for someone who's winning at life, winning at something that you're like, I admire that thing, and reach out. And I promise you that they will offer guidance and mentorship.
Love everything that Bala just said. That was kind of what I had thought as well. You know, you don't know until you're experiencing it, or you're with someone who is good at their job or good at what they do, or as he said, like good at life, like they're winning. You know, ask to shadow, ask to spend a day with someone who you admire. You know, the people who get to that point, they don't do it without helping others, and learn from their mistakes. I think through this whole process, like I've always tried to, you know, learn what people did wrong, and that way I don't do it, you know, and I can grow from it and learn from it. But you always have to be able to ask for help. And there are amazing people in this community who are willing to help. And if there's a career you're wanting to explore and you just want to see what their day-to-day is like, just reach out to someone in the community, and I'm sure they'll absolutely let you come in and just sit and go through a day with them and get to really experience it. I actually did that when I was in high school. I was thinking about speech therapy, and I sat and spent a day with a speech therapist just because I wanted to know what that entailed. Clearly I didn't like it because that's not what I chose to do, but I'm thankful that I spent a day with them. And there are a lot of amazing people in this community who would love to help. So just have to take some courage to reach out, but most successful people, they want to help others be successful too. So.
I think to echo both what they just said was, it kind of goes back to calculated risk, in that I try to live my life and the decisions I make in my career with all they can do is say no. So if you really admire someone, like, you know, Ariel was just talking about, just ask. If they say no, let it roll off and like, okay, that's fine. I'll ask someone else to shadow. Or, you know, like maybe I really wanted to apply to that job. I didn't think I was qualified. Rejection isn't a bad thing. It's just another opportunity for a new beginning. And, you know, I've had a lot of interesting fits and starts in my career. And, you know, a funny story is I'm in fundraising. I have to ask people for money that I clearly could never give. And the very first time I asked for a gift that was significant to someone, I went with my boss and he kind of shadowed me on it. And he said, we're going to sit here until you say the words. And I'm terrified. I'm shaking, I'm sweating. And I'm like, I don't know if I can say the words. So when I asked this donor for money, I actually laughed at the end of what I said because I was so nervous about doing it. And I said yes. And I sat there, it was such a revelation for me, thinking, oh my gosh, all I had to do was ask and it worked out. And if they had said no, it's fine. But sometimes you just need to be brave for 5 seconds because you have no idea what's going to happen if you just are for 5 seconds.
It is learning. It is learning what you don't want to be. It's learning what you want to be. It's learning what you don't want to do. It's learning what you do want to do. So I've always driven myself to keep moving forward with that mentality. It, you know, it may have been the perfect job at that time, and it ended up not being the perfect job. What did you learn from it? What can you add to your resume? My personality, I love reading memoirs and stories of real life. I think it helps me and put things in perspective for me of learning the things that people have done or the struggles that people have gone through. So sometimes it's not a person mentor, but it's putting yourself in that position of listening.
Cool. And I think, you know, a good point was brought up. So there's the seeking out really strong ongoing mentorship opportunities. And then there's just looking for resources too. So sometimes it might just be finding a YouTube video or reading a book or a magazine about individuals. So there's a number of ways to get that motivation. If it seems too daunting at the time to maybe go out and seek a mentor, certainly still keep that as a goal, but maybe there's something more available through technology or just something that you can pick up and read that might help to frame or to give you perspective that would be helpful. So know that there's always resources. Set your goals high, but know that there's also going to be other ways to get that motivation or that information. So we're going to move on to our next question. And it kind of pairs with what we've been talking about. So some of this might be a little bit redundant, but I think it's worth asking. What is one of the biggest risks that you've taken in your personal or professional life that helped you develop as an individual? What was the outcome? Was it good? Was it bad? I mean, I think we're starting to learn throughout this. There's no real bad outcome as long as you're learning. But how did you learn? How did you learn from it then? So if it wasn't the best outcome, what was the lesson for you then?
One of the biggest risks I've taken is that I decided to go to school in Marietta, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta. I'd grown up my whole life in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I decided to travel halfway across the country by myself, no family, no friends. And that was a huge risk because I didn't, it's hard to move to a city where you don't know anyone and then start a program that you're going to be in for 3.5 years and you're away from your family. And that was extremely hard risk, but it paid off because I have the career now that I've always wanted. And the second risk I took was actually, my mentor through chiropractic school. It wasn't until the end of my career that I met him, and my risk was he offered me this job in Berks County. And again, I'm from Pittsburgh area, and he offered me a job in Berks and moved here without any friends or family again, and took that risk of moving to a brand new community, and it's paid off immensely. I love it here, and I've met some amazing people, and I'm part of a great community. So, if I just sat at home, I'd still be there. I wouldn't have taken any risks. So without those risks, there isn't any reward. So it was definitely worth it.
I think that the biggest risk that I took was, like I said, I left animal welfare for a big job in Philadelphia serving youth. And I really felt like I said, I lived my life with empathy, and I really felt like I was selling my soul to leave the industry that I loved to go for an opportunity that was more about building my career pathway than it was about fulfilling my passion for life. And I remember I was sobbing on my parents' floor, being like, how can I possibly take this job? Like, it's not what I thought I wanted in my life. And what I found is that, it prompted me leaps and bounds into my career growth, into getting a master's degree, and ultimately into being recruited for pretty heavily the job that I absolutely adore. So sometimes it's important to consider your long-term career growth, even if it's not exactly within your passion point, because you can always come back to the industry that you love. You can always circle back around to the job that you love. And like I said, I didn't love kids. I worked in Philadelphia working for a nonprofit that served kids, but I knew at the end goal that the skills that I was going to learn in that job were going to help me in the job that I really wanted 5 years from then. So just take risks. That's all I got to say.
See, so for me, it's a little different. I had no idea what the long-term thing was going to be. But Kevin, you said something earlier about values. And so for me, that was the biggest risk. So I worked at Comcast. I was 25. I had way more responsibility than I should have been given. But things were really tough at home. I would commute from Reading to Philly every day. It was about 2.5 hours, and I had 2 young kids at home. And so, it was really, really stressful. I would leave really early and just come back just in time to put him to bed. And it was not sustainable, and it wasn't working. And so I had to make a decision. I did this as a gesture to my wife to let her know that I love her more than anything else on the planet. So I quit that job and started my own company. And it was such a tremendous risk because it was Berks County. It's really, really tough. And we did some really good things, but yeah, I ended up just, it was painful because, we had a split with my business partners. I ended up in a lot of debt. But now looking back, um, I'm lucky that my wife heard that gesture. She was like, cool, you love me and your kids. And now all that debt that has been paid off, fortunately, I chalk it up as a doctorate degree in life and business and things like that. So, so Kevin, to that point of just, there was a point where like I felt like I had to pick between like career and family, and I had to make the decision about just what's important and what I value. And so, yeah, it's a I will quit again if that's what it takes. And so I'm grateful that I can laugh now looking back. But yeah, the family is strong and everyone is good. So it worked out. So
And I would say outside looking in, having known that business, you did do a lot of good. And I think that it also elevated your presence in the community. I think everybody got to know Bala during that time period. Whereas if you would have been commuting to Comcast every day, I don't think that I would have gotten to know you or so many others would have. So in taking the good with the bad, I just wanted to say that.
thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of risks, is you never know what's going to come out of them. I already talked about some of my risks already. I biked cross country after college when my friends were all starting jobs, and I literally had no idea what I was going to do when I got there. And I've repeated that process a couple times now. But every time it's, sometimes a little rocky road at the end, but I figure it out. And, I played baseball growing up, and, everybody says, when you play baseball, if you fail 7 out of 10 times, but you succeed 3, you make the Hall of Fame, right? And that's so true. I mean, if you don't show up, you can't succeed. And I think whenever I look back on regrets that I have, it's never things that I did or things that I said. It's always things that I didn't do or things that were left unsaid. And so you got to take risks. And I think, what I learned from doing that is, first of all, that I can, and that it's going to be okay. But also you learn how to take risks and how to kind of deal with change. So for example, for me, I learned that making a public commitment would help me follow through. I told everybody I was going to bike cross country after college, and I was scared. I was real scared of doing it, but I already told everybody, so I didn't have a choice. And also, it reminds you how important it is for the people who will support you. Sometimes when I've made these decisions, people say, why would you do that? Why would you give up baseball when you're going to get a scholarship for college? That's a dumb decision. But I always had someone, my mom was like, if you're not happy doing that, then don't do it. We'll figure college out. And it turns out that I got a scholarship for school and some grant money, and it worked out just fine. But I really learned that having that, person or people to support you taking those risks and learning how to get yourself into the position to do it is really important.
So this is a little bit of a hard question for me, because I think that I've lived my life through risk, and it has been for the good. I have used it, of course, for positive. When I had children very young, I determined myself to finish my degree. So I started with small things, right? I said, I'm going to have my associate's degree, and that's going to do it for me. And, if something happens, at least I got my associate's degree. And then when I got my associate's degree, I was like, okay, well, I can do that. I can do a couple more years for my bachelor's degree. And I took my risk on that. And then I moved to Pennsylvania. I think that was one of the biggest risks for me, right? When I moved to Pennsylvania, I had recently just gotten my bachelor's degree. I had no job, I had no money, I had nothing. And I moved to Pennsylvania to build my life, to build my career, to build the unknown. I didn't know at that time what I was going to do, where I was going to go, what I was going to do. And it was a huge, huge risk for me. And, you know, throughout that, it has been the most rewarding. I think living in Pennsylvania has been the biggest blessing of my life, and I continue my risk. Ellen knows this. Recently, I joined a startup manufacturing plant. You know, at the beginning, when I got recommended into the role, I was like, why would someone even recommend that for me? You know, I don't have a lot of years in human resource, in the management role, and you want me to venture into a complete startup. I mean, zero from ground up, hiring over 125 employees, and seeing it from the very beginning. And I was scared, even for someone to call me and tell me that they're recommending me and I should apply, right? And that's where I agree with Ashley. What is the last thing they're going to do, right? Tell you no.
So the next question then is, how do you set yourself apart in the job market as an individual? So we talk a lot, I think, in high school and even in college, or even if you're in a trade school and you're, you know, getting ready to get your resume out there and you're going on internships or co-ops, and we talk about personal brand. And so how are you representing yourself so that you stand out, or just so that people can get to know you and see you in a role? So what have you guys done to sort of build on your own personal brand, or what is that one unique thing that maybe you do to kind of stand out in the job market, especially knowing that it's competitive and you're not the only one applying for a job or an internship at any given time? So what makes you stand out in an interview or to a mentor even?
You know, I moved to a whole new place where I didn't know anyone, and then you have to kind of build this network of people, and that's really what it is going out and networking. And there are a lot of events in this community that you can go to. For college students, you know, there's college fairs, there's you can meet other professionals, all these things. And even this, you know, if you connect with one of us, like reach out to us and we'd love to help. So that's what's going to make you stand out, is networking and meeting more people in your community and really understanding. And that helped me, you know, moving here and already being a graduate and knowing what I'm doing, but creating that business network and people that I can reach out to when I need something, because I don't know what, you know, if you have to buy a house, like there are local realtors, things like that. There's lots of great networks to be a part of.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I would say is you can make a name for yourself in a lot of different ways. You know, you can make a name for yourself as a volunteer or as a friend or whatever it may be. So if you're establishing connections with people in your industry or in your community, you can get yourself an opportunity that's not even public. Like someone might say, hey, we think we want you to join our team. They don't even post that job. And you would never know about it because it's not available to everyone else. It's through a relationship. So I think that's really important. The other thing I would say is knowing yourself and your skills, and then also knowing where you're applying. So, you know, if I'm applying to a company that is local, I'm going to go visit their office, try and maybe, you know, talk to some people and see if I can learn about it and come with not only more information, but having shown that I actually really care. And then knowing yourself, you know, for me, you know, I'm not the like swipe right yes candidate on every resume I submit, but I have good references. And so if I do make it through the first interview phase and I'm able to say, hey, call my references, I know that they will speak well for me. Similarly, you know, if you're really creative, don't just make a, you know, standard boring resume. You know, if you're applying to a company that you think is interested in your creativity, make a video, do a story, like do something that makes you stand out. Because I hire people, and when you're just shifting through all the resumes and they all look the same, that one that's different absolutely catches your eye. And even if you're not qualified, Heck, I'd probably bring someone in just to hear about their story.
Yeah, I have to echo that. You know, it's important to build a network. Don't get me wrong, and it's really important to build connections and take internships and get a mentor. But more often than not, companies want to hire someone that fits into their culture. So it's really important to know yourself, invest in yourself, and be authentic. So, for example, when I hire somebody, I want someone that is actively educated on what's going on in the world, knows what their skills are, knows what they like to do, and I can teach you the job. So to me, from that perspective, be authentic, but also be a good person who has a strong character. And it's really important to work on yourself, regardless of whatever career you want to be in. If you want to be a VP, if you just want to, do your 9 to 5, invest in yourself and pay attention to what's going on around you in the world, because people want to be around people that make them feel good. So be the kind of person that you want to spend time with, and you will naturally find a job because of that energy.
Piggybacking on Ashley, you are going to fit in where it's best for you. And a lot of times I think we apply, or we want to be in positions, and we later find out that that wasn't the best fit for us. That wasn't the culture that was meant for us. And we can't beat ourselves up for it. We just have to do a better job as early on teaching ourselves, who are we? What do we stand up for? What's important for me? And then seek out companies, opportunities, or people that can help us into that direction.
This is such an impossible question. So you asked, how do you set yourself apart in the job market? Like, there's so many assumptions there, right? Like, what the job market looks like, who you're competing against. So how can you stand out and be different? I think the answer of being authentic is totally legit, because you can't be anything else. However, I think Kevin's answer is the best one for me. Relationships. Unfortunately, it's about who you know at the end of the day, for me and in my experience. And so I got my first internship because my friend got that internship, and it was like, I know a guy who's really smart. Y'all should hire him too. And that's how I got into Sovereign Bank way back when. Pretty much every opportunity has come because of relationships. So I would say it like this. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. So if you want to have like a really, really good job, or a good life, or a good relationship, or a good marriage, like find 5 people that are awesome at it and become best friends with them. And that way, because when you're in 10th grade, like you get your first job where your friend probably got their first job, and your friend probably knew somebody in the company. So I would just say, like, just not to overwhelm my 10th grade and 11th grade self, it's all about relationships. It's all about friendships. That is such an important part. But then when you get a little older, much older, then it's different. Then it's, what's your story? And so Diana talked about like her resilience and how she overcame. Ashley talks about, I think Ashley has the clearest future path known to human. And so I think that is, at this point in life, at 10th and 11th grade, I don't know if I knew what my story was, because my story is what sets me apart from anyone on the planet. No one has lived my life experience. No one comes from Nigeria, has a funky accent sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, no one knows that. And I didn't know that back then. So it was just about who you're friends with, who you're hanging out with. I think you can choose that now. You can pick those people, you can pick those situations. You just have to pick the right types of people. I don't know, Ellen, I don't mean to, like, I don't have anything better than just relationships and friendships is what sets you up. And then when you're like 30, then you can perfectly articulate this is why I'm awesome. I'm smarter than everybody else. You know what I mean? But
you're putting it in perspective. That's really important, because I think all of us have seen our way through that process into our professional careers. But you're right. For those that are watching this, you're at the very beginning of starting this journey and this process, or maybe you've started it, but you're early on and you have a lot of life to live and a lot of people to meet yet, and a lot of experiences to have that are really going to shape you into who you are. But you can start with who you surround yourself with, and how you even talk about yourself and how you see yourself. I think you always have an opportunity to rewrite that. So making sure that you're evolving both yourself and your circle is extremely important to not only your own well-being, but also once you know that, that allows people to get to know you much faster. Because if you walk around with a mask on, or you have this kind of facade of maybe who you think other people should think you are, it takes a lot more time for them to unravel all of that and then really get to know the true you, instead of just being okay with being that true you from the start, which maybe some people will like and maybe some people will not. And that cuts through a lot of time and a lot of trouble, I think, both for yourself and for everyone around you. So totally down with what you're saying.
I agree a lot with you, Bala. I think that you made a really good point in this, right? Because we're lucky that we are talking about it and looking back and saying this worked, this didn't work, this was great, this wasn't great. But when you're sitting there at that age and you're trying to figure everything out, right? Who you are, what's your career, where you're going, what's your life going to look like? It is extremely difficult. You know, I think I shared with you guys a little bit about how, in a way, a lot of negative things I perceived about myself, right? I'm the black sheep. I'm the one that, you know, is the rebel and does whatever she wants. And, you know, it was in a way sometimes negative. And I learned to utilize that for the good, right? And that didn't come at the age of 17 or 18, right? Or, you know, even earlier on, I was just trying to do life. And, you know, to your point, I think the biggest and most important thing is just do life, you know, learn to do life and take the good, take the bad, take the indifferent, and kind of build on it. And your relationships are going to look different along the way. What you want to do, how you want to see yourself looks very different along the way. And it's okay. It's okay. It's going to build you to the person you're meant to be.
Sorry, 2 seconds. Let me just interject one thing, because I can feel the tension of the people sitting there watching this video. And volunteering, I don't know who said volunteering, but volunteering absolutely helps you start to build your own story. It starts to shape character. That's something that you can do at 16, 17, 18. Like going and picking a cause and saying, I'm going to give my time and my energy to help move this forward. That's something that can also go on a resume that sets you apart from your peers at the same age right now. So like if I could offer just one very concrete thing, because I feel like my answer was not concrete, and it's volunteer. Like find every opportunity to volunteer. I think that sets you apart, and that's probably the clearest answer I can give to that question.
I would agree with that. You know, like I said, I took 5 unpaid internships, and 2 of them I sort of made up. I was like, hi, I know you don't have an internship program, but can I start one? Like, so just, I think the amount of time that you put towards showing that you're trying to figure out who you are, whether or not it's the job that you want or in the industry that you want, like invest time in figuring that out, and it'll just show on your resume that, okay, this person's either willing to move around or they're willing to try new things, or clearly they can talk to people because they've been in a lot of different areas within volunteering or internship. So just do things to show that you're willing to explore who you are.
Yeah, and if you volunteer for a couple of months and realize you hate it, it's better than working for a couple of years and realizing you hate it.
Yep,
it's true.
What any final thoughts do you have? I mean, again, this audience of students that is hungry for just knowledge and just learning from all of us. It can be so simple, your response, or you can dive all in on this one. But I think, again, walking away from this and having some nugget of knowledge to say, okay, this is the thing I'm going to work on, or because Bala said this, or Diana said this, I'm going to explore that and focus really, just my energy on that. So any kind of final thoughts you have or nuggets along the way that you've gathered that you want to share at this point that we haven't covered, or maybe we have covered and you just want to reiterate it, now would be the time.
I don't think we really talked about this in any different concept. I spend a lot of time talking to my friends who have defined success in their own lives very differently. Success can also mean personal success. You do not need to have a fantastic career. You do not need to achieve VP status, get a degree, make XYZ dollars to feel like you've been successful in your life. I have a really good friend who we both say we're very envious of each other. I really am envious of her personal life because she has everything that I thought I'd have at this point in my life. And she says, oh my gosh, you have the career that I thought I'd have in my life. And I think it's important not to compare yourself to other people. And yes, you are competing with everyone else out in the world on, getting your first job, deciding if you want to go to college, getting into the college that you may or may not want to go to. Get off social media, stop looking at people and thinking, wow, their life is better than mine, or, oh, they achieved this job that I've always wanted. Just stop and decide what in your life is going to be defined as successful. That might mean getting married. That might mean having a family. That might mean being a VP of some fantastic job one day. It also might mean spending more time with your family. So don't think that success just means the job that you have or how much money you make. And don't compare yourself to other people's success, because everybody wishes they had success in another part of their life. Nobody has achieved the optimum level of success across the board, because I guarantee you I haven't, and I'm sure no one else on this panel has. So define what success is for you and make that be okay in whatever path you choose.
Yeah, if I can jump off that, relax. You got most of your life ahead of you. Just relax. You can't compare yourself to other people, because my Insta life is not my real life. I don't post, every boring thing I do. People tend to post things they're really excited about, and they doctor up their pictures. And, you look at these people and you're like, oh my God, I wish I was them. If you follow them around for a day, you realize they're not much different than you. And I think going off of that too and relaxing is, for me personally, I wish I would have cared less about my grades and less about, being a perfect student. Because after I got my first job, no one cared what my GPA was. You have to do well in school. You have to do well in school. It's very important. But well does not just mean grades. It means experiences, right? In my college, we had a volunteer center. I was able to study abroad. What can you do that's not just going to class, studying, and getting good grades? Because those things not only help you stand out in your career, but they make you a better person. And I think finally, I think, for me, I was the kind of person who didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no idea. And sometimes I still feel that way. And I think as someone who was very uncertain, I wish that someone would have said to me, what are you good at? Right? Find something you're good at and get better at it. Because when you get to the point where you have a skill that people want, people will pay you for that skill. If you're a computer programmer, that doesn't mean that you have to work for like Amazon or Facebook. You can be a computer programmer that helps a nonprofit do great work, right? If you have a skill, you can apply it in so many different ways. And if you don't know what you want to do, maybe just focus on what you're good at.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to get out there. I think we've kind of talked about like volunteering, but also, again, reaching out for help. I think looking back, like I wish I would have asked for more help when I was younger, like saying, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to go, but, finding the people or the pathways that can help me get there, or learning from other people. So whether it's volunteering, or if there's a career you want to do, finding someone to shadow and just going and spending the day with them, I think that's just going to give you some insight and also give you that little bit of confidence too. It's what we all need. We all are still striving for confidence in what we do and our choices in life. So that's okay. That's always going to be a struggle, but make sure you surround yourself with great people and stay with people who keep you motivated.
Developing that individuality and feed off what other people are doing. You know, if you want to be something, follow people that are doing the same thing or that already have accomplished it, and feed off of that and look at it and make sure that you are always dreaming that big dream and doing the things that you want to do to go into that path. And don't be afraid to have that big dream. And, you know, one day I want to be like this, or one day I want to do this. Utilize the social media and the influence that you have so accessible for the good of keeping yourself motivated. And then the other portion that I have, and I always will advertise this, is it's not always cookie cutter, all right? It's not because you're wearing a suit and because you're going to a nice fancy office that is the only path or the path to a good career, all right? I fell into manufacturing, and I will always vouch for manufacturing. There is money in there, there is career in there, there is so many endless opportunities in manufacturing. I get paid very well. I get a career of my dreams in jeans every day, and I love it.
Life's hard. It will smack you in the mouth often. But always tell the truth. Work harder than the next person. Like if there's someone standing next to you, work harder than them. And always be respectful. So tell the truth, work hard, and be respectful. Because if people can't trust you, if people don't like you, you will get nowhere. Like, we're not entitled anything in life. Everyone you see here is I'm lucky, right? I'm lucky. But just work hard, tell the truth, and be respectful. And things usually work out with those three things. Like, that's it. Just please work hard. First, tell the truth always. Never lie. Tell the truth, work hard, and be respectful. And everything's going to work out. That's all I have.
That's all you have. You all contributed so much.
Very nice. I love everything you say.
And see, you still get mentors as you're going along. So I even consider many of these people on the panel, all of these people on the panel, friends and mentors and just professional peers along the way that have all shared something with me, whether it be about themselves or about their career, many times both. But I've learned so much from everyone just here on this call, just by allowing myself to open up those relationships with each of these people. And you know, I think we forget sometimes that some of the people you'll learn the most from are not necessarily a boss or maybe, you know, even a teacher sometimes, although teachers are wonderful and teach you so much. But I think it's your friends and your peers and people that are your age that you can relate to. And I think it's sometimes advice or mentorship comes in non-suspecting ways. And so I appreciate everybody on this call, you know, professionally, but also as friends. And I think you have to just be open to learning about other people and learning from them. And I think we probably have really accomplished that today. And I think you're all going to go away with at least one, maybe 10, maybe You're going to come back to this video again and rewatch it because there are so many good things that we can learn from one another here. And I think, the goal is to allow you to kind of think through what all of this meant to you today as you sat and listened, and how can you apply it to your own life and as you move forward. And so I just want to say thank you to my friends here on this call today that were able to share so much. And I think, again, reach out. If there's anything I think we echoed over and over is don't allow, as Ashley said, that 5 seconds of bravery to get in your way or go for that 5 seconds of bravery, and don't not take the risk to do, sometimes the hard stuff. And reaching out, what's the worst they're going to say? We learned again today, no, which is likely not the case if you're reaching out for mentorship or support. So always take that risk. So thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this session today. We hope you learned a lot, and I'm quite sure that you did.
Hi, I'm Millie Igas Lockhart, the Business Development Officer with Impact and Engagement at Visions Federal Credit Union. First, I would like to thank you for having us here. It's my pleasure to talk to you about all the great stuff Visions has going on. Visions Federal Credit Union is a not-for-profit, member-owned financial cooperative. This means you can do your banking at our credit union and enjoy our absolute best rates with fewer to no fees. Because we exist for our members and not a profit. Our mission is people helping people. We're helping people, educators, and youth just like you. One way we're helping is by providing financial literacy. Financial literacy is so important. Finances are very important as well. From savings and budgeting, credit, and more, we're here to help you a little bit more. Now passing it on to Raquel to start you with the activity.
Hello everyone, my name is Raquel Capellan. I'm a community education coordinator here at Visions Federal Credit Union. In my role and job position, I have the opportunity to coordinate, schedule, and teach financial literacy classes to community organizations such as the YMCA, Barrio Alegría, Breast Cancer Support Services of Berks County, and many more. Today, I'd like to speak to you about a few things. First off, our needs versus our wants, and reminding ourselves to separate them so that we can save for our short-term and long-term goals. For our wants, there are things, of course, that we can live without. For our needs, those are things that we cannot live without. So again, for example, with our needs, those are things such as food, basic shelter, and water, and other basic needs that we need every single day in order to survive and live. Our wants, for example, are things like that candy bar that you're eyeing when you're about to make your groceries, or the newest and latest cell phone. So again, remember that in order to save for your short-term and long-term goals, sometimes that want, like that candy bar or the newest and latest phone, can wait a little bit longer in order for you to save for the things that you really, really need, and what you want can always wait a little bit later. Now, on to the fun part, vision boards. So, whether you have made a vision board or not before, that's great, that is totally fine. Today we're in for some fun. So today we're going to be creating vision boards. Vision boards are a great way to make your visions and short-term and long-term goals, mid-term goals, and all of your dreams come to life. It's a really cool and fun way, no matter what age you are, no matter who you are, in order to be able to just manifest and make your goals and dreams come to reality. So now I'm going to be showing you the instructions and the materials inside of our vision bags that you're going to be reviewing today in order to create your vision board. So here is the wonderful empty vision boards that when you're looking at it, hopefully by the end you have most or all of your dreams on here so that you can start making them come to life and look at every single day so that you can start making those short-term and long-term goals become a reality. We also have a paper including our office locations in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York for Visions branches. You will also find an instruction mat with the Vision Board's instructions, a wonderful magazine where you can cut pictures out of and words out of in order to make your vision board. We have a youth services brochure so you can check out our resources for youth like you here and see the resources and programs that we provide to young kids such as yourselves. We have our welcome brochure so you can review with your families and friends and colleagues so that you can see all the great things that Visions provides. Also, we have a coupon, so if you're interested in membership with Visions, you can receive up to $75 bonus when opening your accounts. Also, we have our business card in case you would ever need anything or would like to contact us. We're here to assist you. Also, we have a wonderful glue stick, marker, some nice, fun, positive stickers to put on your vision board, and we have a complimentary charger on behalf of Visions. I hope you guys enjoy making your vision boards today, and remember, the sky is the limit, and if you see it, you can achieve it.
Hi, Millie again. Visions supports our communities in so many ways. With our Visions Love Educators is one of them. Visions has been supporting our educators in our communities for more than 50 years. We have developed an amazing program that benefits the educators and staff. In fact, the Visions Love Educators booklet is devoted to all the educator programs. For example, we have our summer savings account so you can set aside money for the summer months. We also have our loan double skip a payment program for those with loans to skip their summer loan payments penalty free. We also have our Visions Love Educators Classroom Funding Program. This invites you to apply for a project grant for your classrooms. And that's just a few of our many programs. You can go to our website and learn more. So please go to visionsfcu.org and read about our products and services and see if you're eligible to join. And if you join today, use coupon code Millie75 to earn up to $75 just for opening an account with us. Again, don't forget to check out our Visions Love Educators booklet with the information in the back. Thank you for all you do and have a great day.